YouTube, Glow Yard Gang, Facebook. What else we got? Instagram, Spotify, podcast listeners, and combat sports and sports entertainment fans all over the world. Welcome to the second episode of We Talk Combats with myself, King. I'm joined today with my, co-hosts, Travis, Devon, my baby Queen, and Justin was able to join us today. He won tickets, that bastard, to the Orioles playing today. So he's getting to see a good game. It's 5-5 against Kansas City. So him and my goddaughter, actually, Nyla, enjoying himself out there. She plays softball. So congratulations on winning the tickets, but I hope they're having fun. But we got a good show for you guys today. Welcome to everybody. Sorry, we're still dealing with technical difficulties. We had to start a little later today. We don't want to say what happened. But yeah, situations happen. But we got a good lineup for you today, y'all. We're going to talk about some good things. But before we do, y'all, what's up, y'all? I'll first start with you, Queen. How are you today, babe? How you feel?
I mean, it's a nice Sunday. It's chilling. It's my sister's birthday. So it's good to hear you. Good to be here. Good to see everybody. I know we had some good shows this week and some good stuff going on. So good to be here.
All right. What up, Travis? What up, bro? How you feeling with your background? Finally, we got you to be seen. What's up?
Look, man, technical difficulties.
It is what it is. And last but not least, finally joining us this week after some hard circumstances, but we're glad he's here finally. And that's Devon. What up, bro? How you feeling today?
Hey, I'm good. The fourth is with me today, so I think this is going to be a good show.
Yes, sir. It should be. So first, to kick things off, why don't we just go right to our first segment that we have, and that's the highs and the lows. Let's talk about what happened. So as always, we have Raws and Smackdowns for the week. This is actually the last. Well, no, I'm sorry. Next week is the last Raw and Smackdown before Backlash, but this is the week before. We had a pretty simple Raw and a pretty simple Smackdown, in my opinion. But we'll go down the lines of our highs and our lows for each show. We'll start with Raw first. On Raw, the results of the show, I'll give you the wrestling results. You had Rhea Ripley defeating Roxanne Perez by DQ. You had the War Raiders defeating the Judgment Day. You had Stephanie Valkyrie defeating Ivy Now. And Braun Breaker defeats Sami Zayn by TKO. So I'll start, I guess, around the room. We do a round table here. Start with you, Travis, since you're beneath me right now. How did you feel about Raw overall? What are your highs, I guess, first? And then what were your lows about the show in general?
Okay, my highs about Raw was basically the first women's match with Rhea Ripley and it was Roxanne Perez. I thought it was an overall good match. What I didn't like about that match is how it ended on a disqualification. Like, I figured that with Rhea being the big star that she is, and we all basically know that Roxanne is about to get ready to come out to Raw whenever they have the draft. I wish that match would have ended with some type of winner, like a definite winner.
Decisive winner. Okay.
The whole Sami Zayn, Braun Breaker, I thought that match was pretty decent. I feel Braun Breaker used too much tan because he's starting to look orange to me.
That's a low.
I know it's a low, but I'm just saying, like, he's too orange. Another low, I would say, is the tag match. I don't know what's going on with Raw's tag talent. Your boys, the War Raiders, I would say that they have the worst move in all wrestling now. So I'm gonna cut Finn some slack and say that he has the worst solo move. But the War Raiders
have the worst tag team
move. They have the worst tag move ever. But overall in that, I like the Penta segment when he came out and did the walk on the table and all that good stuff. But overall, I would say that SmackDown was better than Raw
Well, let's save it. Don't give them all the good stuff right away, Trav. But what would be? Let me see. What would be your overall grade of Raw? Then just give it, if it's a scale of 1 to 10. What would you give it?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give it a 6.5.
6.5. Okay, all right, I can vibe with it. All right, we'll be back to you in a moment. But let's go over to Queen. Queen, babe, what do you think? What was your highs and what were your lows of Raw on Monday?
So I guess I'll start with my lows. So I don't want to mirror everything that Travis said, but my lows were definitely the little Pat McAfee thing. I could have cared less about that whole thing. That was a waste of our time. I think that the other low is basically that whole Rhea Ripley thing, because there was too many people in the ring for it to end in a DQ. So it kind of felt like we just wasted our time watching all that and watching all the attempted pins that were done on Rhea. But the movesets and everything were looking cute. I know that there was the girl from NXT, I think, that was there too, and I don't really know a whole lot about her or anything about her moveset. So I more so knew stuff about Rhea. So Julia, I couldn't remember what her name was. My high points, I would definitely say, is the Sami Zayn little promo that we ran with Seth Rollins. Like, Sami Zayn's becoming a better talker. It was kind of cool for him to kind of set himself apart from the whole bloodline angle and kind of point the finger back at Seth Rollins about how, like, you're kind of just trying to make your own bloodline, essentially. I thought that whole thing was cool. I always think that Seth's outfits are cool, so it kind of set the mood for the show, I thought. I think the Becky Lynch thing would probably be the lukewarm thing for me, because one, I do like that they're bringing Becky back out and kind of pushing her immediately into her own cohesive storyline, but I do feel like they need to work on their delivery, though, their promo. I feel like it kind of had weird choppy parts to it. It wasn't like a fluid scene. It kind of just was choppy, if that makes sense. Like, I felt like Becky for a second was waiting to respond, and I guess she was waiting for what's her face, Valkyrie, to say something else. I mean, sorry, Valkyrie. Is it Valkyrie? Lyra Valkyrie? I can't remember her name. Okay, yeah. No, I think those are two different people with close names.
No, her name's Lyra Valkyria.
And then the other girl, Stephanie Valkyrie.
And it's
Valkyrie.
Okay, yeah. See, they're sorry. Okay, they're real close. But yeah, I feel like they were trying to do their own, like, Charlotte Flair promo, like with Tiffany, but it kind of just didn't come off the same way, because they weren't volleyballing their promo back and forth. They kind of just were like, well, here's the ball, and then okay, here you go. Here's it back. Like, they kind of were forcing it back and forth, and then did their little, all that stuff. But yeah, I would
feel
say
like they had any chemistry?
No, I don't feel like they had chemistry at all. But I'm just trying to make sure I cover everything that I can remember just overall. But oh yeah, the Jey Uso and Logan Paul thing. Logan Paul plays good heel because he's already a heel. So naturally, I feel like he has. I hate giving him compliments, but I feel like he has good chemistry with almost everyone he's in the ring with, in terms of their talking parts. So I feel like that was a really good scene. I feel like Jey Uso has been shining a lot. I'm kind of worried they're going to try and steal the belt from him soon, though, because it feels like that's what they're setting up to do. Is they're setting up a bunch of people to take the belt from him really quickly, and I kind of hope that he has a longer hold with the belt. But I'd say, like he said, I feel like the SmackDown this week. I mean, I felt like the SmackDown this week was stronger than the Raw. So I would give it a 7, because I felt like all the promos for the most part were. They had a purpose. I don't feel like any promo didn't have a purpose this week. I didn't feel like they just tried to throw out something new. I felt like they really were building upon everything we saw at WrestleMania. So yeah, I'd say 7.
I feel you. All right. What up, fam? Enjoying the game, man.
What up?
Appreciate you. We got Rel in the house. I'll talk about him a little more later on, but he the tech guy for the show. But what up, Dev, man? Let's get to your opinion, man. I want to let the people wait. We've been waiting long enough for your opinion on the show. So how do you feel about Raw, bro? What's your highs and your lows?
So I'm going to copy Queen's homework, but I'm going to change it up a little bit so people don't hopefully notice. I kind of agree with the whole Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn situation. I love seeing Sami. I actually started off not liking Sami Zayn at all. Like, I don't know, I had some sort of fundamental dislike of him. Not as much as I dislike Rey Mysterio, but still, similar thing. But ever since the Bloodline, he's been renewed in my sight or my opinion. His character feels a little bit more, I don't want to say important, but interesting, at least to me. And just seeing his back and forth with Seth Rollins, I think there's a lot of background between both of them with their involvement with the bloodline, but not necessarily always including the bloodline. So I think that they have a direction they can go in that can turn out really well. The rest of the show, it was okay. I'm glad that I didn't see the general manager weekly situation where everything is going haywire and he's just standing in the background and popping up and saying, "Okay, we'll take this out in the ring." I'm glad we didn't really get that this week. It got kind of old for me, but I'm not a big fan of the DQs unless there's a purpose for it. So matches like the Roxanne Perez and Rhea Ripley, if there's a story to tell with the DQ happening, or you don't necessarily want to bury the talent, you have two strong players in the game and you don't really want either one of them look weak, okay. But I don't know, sometimes some of those DQs are just kind of unwarranted in my opinion. So I'd like to see a definitive finish. The Stephanie McCare, I think that she is gonna be going places, and I think that her character is a little bit different than I would see the traditional women, but I think she feels like a new Paige to me.
Okay.
So the way Paige came up from NXT, the way Paige kind of jumped right in the main event scene, kind of when she started, I think Stephanie's kind of going to be on that path a little bit. I just hope that she continues her momentum. Braun Breaker, I don't even really know what I can say about Braun Breaker that everybody else hasn't said. That man is just crazy, and I love it.
Like his daddy.
I love his intensity. I love his look. He just looks very, very believable. I know we'll touch on it later, but he's kind of the yang to, well, not really the yang, but he's another side of Jacob Fatu, in my opinion. But I know we'll get to the SmackDown part a little bit later. But yeah, I would probably though give it about a 5 in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And the reason I say that, the matches were okay, but there really wasn't much that pulled me in. The promos are really what, the backstage interviews and everything. Those are kind of what kind of got my attention a little bit more. So hopefully next week is a little bit better.
Appreciate you. I'm going to be, Debbie Downer on this one. Mm-hmm. Be a little different from y'all. I thought y'all gave great opinions and all, but I felt a little differently. I'm going to give the show, I'm going to start with my score first. I'm going to give the show a 2. I thought the show was trash. I thought this Raw, it had 5 matches the most. It was trash. In 2.5 hours. I thought that some of the matches were okay. Like you said, the women's match between Rhea and Roxanne, that was a good match, but it wasn't a good ending. So what was the match for? I felt like the Braun Breaker, the Sami Zayn thing was an okay match, but then it became like a gimmick with the TKO and doing that. So I didn't really enjoy that as much. I thought this was a throwaway. I feel like Backlash is too soon after WrestleMania. So they have really no idea of what they really want to do. They're just throwing stuff together. Even the Randy Orton and John Cena thing, which we'll get to, I guess, in the next show. But I feel like that's kind of thrown together. Like they could have given this more of a bigger feel. This could have been towards the end of John Cena instead of towards the beginning, I felt like. But because it's in St. Louis, they're just throwing that together. So that's how I feel about that. But I felt overall this Raw really there was really not a lot of highs. Like the 2 matches, like I called, were really probably the main highs for me. I'm actually getting bored already of Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman and what's his name, Braun Breaker. They got to do something else with this storyline, because it's kind of like what Sami Zayn said. Are you getting your own bloodline? What are you trying to do? What's going to happen from this? And without Roman Reigns being there, or like a CM Punk for the last couple of shows, we're getting nothing from it. So it's feeling more like a and I actually like legacy. That's crazy. I'm gonna say this, but it's feeling more like a legacy instead of like an evolution right now. So I'm gonna give it, like I said, overall 2. I feel like there were much more lows. That Pat McAfee match with Gunther, who cares? Like, this is a throwaway again. It's just a bunch of throwaway to me. So yeah, I feel like they're probably not gonna get things started until the next pay-per-view, and this is just something to make money real quick. So that's my overall opinion on it. But I guess anybody got anything to say about that? We done? We good?
Yeah, actually, I'm really wondering where they're even trying to go with this Pat McAfee situation. We already know how it's going to end, so I'm not really sure if they just.
I'm hearing Goldberg.
Say it again.
I'm hearing Goldberg
for Pat McAfee.
For
Gunther.
Yeah, I'm hearing that this is going to lead back up to the Goldberg retirement thing, where Goldberg may save him and all that stuff, and it may be a Goldberg situation. So I don't know, because Gunther I would see Gunther beating Goldberg if they wrestled each other. So especially if it's his last match. But like I don't know, man. Like I said, when we get to the T and we get to what's going on, like I really want to talk about what's going on with talent and all that type of stuff, and I'm gonna save it to that situation. But yeah, overall, I didn't think it was a good show. But guys, guess what, yeah? We got a sponsor for that. And if you didn't know, it's Fanatics. This I Was Told segment is brought to you by the folks over at Fanatics. Fanatics is the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and players you love the most, including WWE. You can earn fan cash to redeem your orders, jersey protection for when your favorite player is traded or changes teams. They also have an unrivaled selection of authentic fan gear and Fanatics exclusives that are only available on the site. So if you need some merch and are interested in helping the channel, scan the QR code on the screen or follow the link, which is always in the description. Appreciate you, Fanatics, as always. But let's get over to SmackDown now, guys. SmackDown was a little bit more, I guess, meaty. Had more things that were going on, situations and matches. But let me run down the line of what happened on there again. You had Damian Priest and LA Knight ending in a no contest after interference by Solo Sikoa. You had Fraxium defeating Pretty Deadly by pinfall. You had Aleister Black defeating The Miz via pinfall. You had Zelina Vega defeating Piper Niven by pinfall. Piper Niven, I'm sorry. You had Rey Fenix defeating Santos Escobar, and you had Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton defeating Nia Jax and Naomi via pinfall. So a lot of pinfalls. I think only one match ended by interference or DQ. So we're going to go the opposite way this time. Devon, what's up with SmackDown? How do you feel about this? Give us your overall highs and lows and a number grade for me.
So I'm going to start off and say, and I held this off until we got to the SmackDown part, I love Rey Fenix. And I feel like he is what I had hoped Penta was going to be. And Penta feels like an accessory. You know, it feels like they really wanted Rey Fenix, but Rey was like, yeah, you got to bring my brother in too if I do that. And they're like, all right, we'll just go ahead and bring him in. We'll just bring him in a little bit sooner so everybody can forget about him in a week or two once you get over here. Because he's just not really, I don't know if he's trying to play the underdog and the way his matches run, where he's constantly just getting bashed throughout the match and then just magically, wins afterwards. I'm not sure where he's going with that, but even in doing that, I just haven't really felt very entertained with his style. And Rey Fenix has just kind of been a really standout, in my opinion, with just his performance in general. Santos Escobar, I don't even think I've seen him wrestle in a long time. I don't know. Maybe it's just I haven't paid attention, but, just even having those guys in there together, I thought it was pretty cool. Jade Cargill, I think, I guess she's still kind of getting ready for the big scene, but I don't think she's there yet. I love her look. I think that she can be great. I just think that she's just not ready for prime time just yet. So I'm interested to see where they go with her and Naomi. I kind of feel like that story really should be done because Naomi, I think the heel turn, I think is more interesting, but I don't really feel like they can go too many places with this. We already know that she's the one that pushed her in the car. We already know that, they had their fights and everything. And with Bianca Belair, I just don't really feel like there's more to go with that particular story. It was cool to see Aleister Black back, The Miz, I feel bad for because he seems to be the welcome mat for everybody. Every time somebody starts off, they're fighting the Miz takes a pinfall. It's great for the fact that he's helping propel new talent, sometimes returning talent that's just, just getting back in the ring. But I do feel bad for him because he's been there 20 plus years and he's just, like I said, a welcome mat. LA Knight and Damian Priest, take it or leave it. I'm not. Yeah, I don't really. Personally, I don't really care about either one of them. I haven't really seen anything with their promo or their segment that really pulled me in. So I don't really have anything more to say about that. And Pretty Deadly and Fraxium. Actually, I'll just stop right there.
What's your overall grade of the show?
My overall grade, I would probably still say that it was a 6. I enjoyed SmackDown more than I enjoyed Raw. I did enjoy the matches. I'm a fan of Zelina Vega. I don't really know where they're trying to go with this story with Chelsea Green, and if they're really, gonna have those two fight again. But I've always been a fan of Zelina. I'll wait till we get to the T part to talk about some stuff with her as well. But I would love to see where they go with that. But I would probably say a 6.
All right, Queen. Maybe we're going to go to you next. Uh-oh, is she frozen? I think she might be frozen. Travis, well, we'll go to you then and get back to her. What's your opinion on the show? What's your highs and lows?
Like I said, man, that Ray Santos Escobar, Ray Phoenix, that match was awesome. That was entirely my favorite match throughout the whole card. From the same backstage, the promo backstage, to the match itself, and the crowd, and this is awesome and all that good stuff. I felt that just like the kind of piggyback what Devon said, I don't think Jade is like completely ready to be on the main card. Well, not to say main card, but to be in a title match yet. I feel the main eventer. I feel like she needs a bit more matches first. Because I feel like it's kind of like, too rushed and all that stuff. What else? Oh, my boy, LA Knight, Damian Priest. Like I said, that was a decent match. I like LA Knight better. Okay, don't do that. But like I said, I wish that match would have came into a winner as also. I would look forward to the United States, the Fatal 4-Way match for that. Like the Miz, and I have, I've been a Miz guy since the real world. But he's just a jobber now. Like he just get beat up on all the time.
Yep.
What else? What else I'm missing?
No. What's your overall grade? If that's all you can think of.
Oh, man. I gave it like a 7.5.
Ooh, you went high on it.
Being a better show.
Okay.
And like I said, that Ray Fearless and Santos Escobar match did a whole lot for me. Like it basically saved everything.
I'm gonna wait. Well, I don't know. Queen may be dealing with technical difficulties right now, so I'll go ahead and give my opinion. I'll give the show a 6 with Devon. I'll give it a strong 6. It wasn't a great show at all. Like it wasn't superb, but it was way more entertaining than Raw, and that's wild because SmackDown to 3 hours usually not as more entertaining than Raw. Had way more matches in general, not as much filler. I thought Ray Phoenix, kind of the piggyback off of what you said, Devin. I think Ray Phoenix is, in my opinion, better than Penta as well. I think Penta, it was an issue. It wasn't a taking his brother. I think they wanted both of them, but Ray Phoenix had got injured in AEW, so they extended his contract because of his injuries. So when they grabbed Penta, Ray Phoenix had to do the rest of his time before he was able to come over, which I think kind of may hurt him because Penta's on Raw, and they're kind of pushing Penta as the next Rey Mysterio in a way. It feels like even more than Ray Phoenix, and I don't like that because I'm with you. I think Ray Phoenix is the better option of the two. If it's one guy you want to push to the top, I think it's him. But Penta, maybe he has a better look with the mask and all that stuff. Maybe that's what they want as far as the kids and all. But yeah, I don't want to say I'm not a Penta fan. I'm just not a Penta guy. I don't have to see like a Penta match. I don't have to run to a Penta screen when he's on there. But Ray Phoenix is my guy when he's wrestling on SmackDown. What else? The beginning match with Damian Priest and LA Knight, like you said. I mean, I give Travis, hell for LA Knight, but like LA Knight, he's a good performer. He's good. Even Damian Priest, they're good, both good performers. But I'm not a fan of neither one of them though. I wouldn't buy any of their merchandise or anything like that. I'm not like running to the TV for their matches either. I do appreciate that they have those two. I mean, we'll have Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre, even though their feud should be over, but they're just adding them to find a way to give them something else into the U.S. Championship. So I guess it gives it more weight. But I hate that they're giving Solo Sikoa, or they're destroying him completely in a way. That he's like became just a laughing stock, I say, in a way. Like I always thought they should have gave him the title and had Solo beat him, but now I think they have no direction for gave the title to Solo and had Jacob beat him, but I think they have no direction for Solo anymore. I know Solo's going to win this, which I guess lifts him up. I hope they have something ready as a plan B for the other guys. I don't know where LA Knight goes from here, Travis. I hope he'd have a plan for him. You got to get the Miz away from Carmelo Hayes. Like Carmelo needs to turn on him like ASAP. The Miz is a jobber. Carmelo just won the Andre the Giant Memorial or Battle Royal, whatever. And if you want to push him and get him away, I think he can be. You got to get him away from the Miz. The Miz is nothing. They're just bringing Aleister Black. And I'm guessing the goal is to get Aleister Black versus Carmelo. But if you did all this for Carmelo, why are you just going to feed him to Aleister Black and have him just lose matches to him? I don't think that'll be right or fair. I hope Triple H doesn't do that. We'll see. Shout out to the T. But like I said, overall, I'm giving it a 6. I didn't think it was nothing spectacular. It was better than Raw. It was watchable, but like I probably will never watch it again. Shout out to Randy giving a good promo and all the John Cena, but again, that's rushed as well. But yeah, that's let me give it. Queen, I know you were doing dealing with some technical difficulties there for a second, but
a little bit. I got yeeted. Yeet.
You're good. What's your highs? And look like Devon want to say something else. I'll give you a chance, Devon, after Queen speaks. But give your highs and lows real quick about SmackDown and your overall grades.
Highs, of course, Jade is always going to be my highs. I do feel like she's still a little green, but her matches are starting to look a little cleaner in terms of like just her deliveries, her moveset. Like eventually, we need to see her athleticism physically match her moveset, and we're not there yet. It's just not quite there yet. Randy Orton, I'm always a Randy Orton fan. I loved his promo. Just him kind of uniting the John Cena and him being there 25 years at this point in the industry. Always cool to see that. And he does deserve a big moment, but I'm feeling like, so I'm beginning to get the feeling that Randy Orton is going to be the next to retire probably next year, just based on how he's been talking this year. It's kind of been overshadowed by John Cena because it is his year, but I'm getting the feeling that Randy's on his way out. Those are probably like my highest points though. Like the Ray Phoenix match is forgettable. Santos, I don't even really know a whole lot about him, but Ray, I feel like is trying to be the next Rey Mysterio, which isn't really a bad thing to do. I mean, like it's a high bar to go for, and I do feel like, just like what Devon said, I feel like Ray is being what everyone kind of thought Penta was supposed to be because of how Penta kind of was delivered on a silver platter. And I feel like Ray was kind of like the tag along with that, but it's kind of become the reverse. Is that Ray is the stronger, skill set, look, moves, and that Penta is almost kind of starting to feel like a jobber to me. Like I feel like he just come out to get beat up a bunch, like and kind of move the story along. But otherwise, even with the Royal Rumble, I was kind of like, oh, that's it. Like it kind of just like it was a whole big thing, and it was just like, oh, okay, all right. And then like he got beat up, and then that was that. Those were like the as I said, the high points for me. Like the low points really were probably anything that involves like LA Knight, unfortunately. Like he kind of is boring to me. But I do feel that Damian Priest is much more boring. So like it gave it kind of more to watch, especially when Solo came out. Like so like You know, and also too Jacob Fatu.
Sorry, Travis.
You know, the Jacob Fatu Sokoa, like it's kind of cool that they're mixing the bloodline on both shows, but I don't feel like it had a place in that fight with Damian Priest and LA Knight, if that makes sense. I feel like that was kind of thrown together, and it didn't feel like it made as much sense to me at all. But yeah, I said earlier that I do believe that this was better than Raw earlier this week, which I do feel like it was, because it definitely had more matches. But I feel like because I already graded Raw so high with a 7, I have to give this an 8. I can't go any lower because that wouldn't make sense. So I would give it an 8. I do feel like it was a lot more watchable. As I said, even with like Nia Jax and all that, it was cool seeing her big old butt getting powerbombed by Jade. I like that. And as I said, like everybody's stories for the most part have kind of already been set up with the past few episodes. So it just kind of was more about fleshing them out. And like I said, like he's like just like what Devon said, is that I feel like Jade looks just really nice. I just really want to see her kind of come into her own element as a wrestler and kind of see. I need to see her move set develop. Like it's kind of cool, but like it's just really generic, and I want to see her figure out some cool moves, because I feel like with her strength, physically, she should be able to pull off some cool shit. I feel like she could even be a flyer, being as thin as she is. I think she could possibly do that if she put to it. But I mean, yeah, we got a lot more to see from her, and like we'll see it. Hopefully, as long as she stays healthy. So yeah, that was my opinion on the SmackDown.
I want to say something about SmackDown, about the Jade Cargill thing. But I'm going to Devin say what you want to say. I knew you wanted to say something real quick. What up, Devin?
Actually, I'm going to piggyback off of what Queen just said with Jade. Actually, I love the fact that we have somebody who is not only believable, but legitimately able to overpower somebody like Nia Jax. Because I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of Nia Jax fighting Zelina Vega, you know what I mean, or Alexa Bliss or something like that, and they end up winning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like she's more she looked more physically matched.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to see a 90-pound woman going and fighting, Nia Jackson, and that 90-pound woman, figures out a way and beats her, or whatever the case is. It's just not believable to me. So to have somebody like Jade there, I think Jade, Bianca, and the name is leaving me right now, but the one that not even Naomi, but the other one that just came back from, I think she was in AEW. She came back on the Royal Rumble, and then she. You
talking about the strong ladies. You're talking about what's her name? I can't think right now. Jordan Grace.
Jordan Grace.
Yeah, she's the one that used to be partnered with the other lady, right? And she was like her strong man for a while.
Okay. No. She came from TNA. No? She from TNA.
Are we not thinking the same? It's not the same person. No. The blonde woman.
TNA shorter. It's a blonde lady. It's a different one though. Different blonde lady with the shorter from TNA though. It used to be the TNA.
Okay, all right. I'll look up a picture.
Yeah, I'm glad to see some strong women there that are more believable to take on people like Nia Jax, because you already know Nia Jax already has a reputation of being not always the safest person to work with, and I just feel like some of those stronger, bigger, women may have a better chance at surviving her matches. So I'm glad to see that. I just wish that Jade, I wish that, like Queen said, her moveset was better. And I can't wait until that day comes where she's improved, where she figures out where she's supposed to be, and kind of realizes her own potential and starts to shine. I do think that day is coming. It's just not going to be anytime soon. I wanted to throw out there, I said this on the show, I think Solo is now D-Lo, and he is he's a side dish now, and Jacob Fatu just became the main entree out of nowhere, and it's crazy, but I love it. I'm here for it. I love Jacob Fatu. I love his intensity. I love his moveset. I love the fact that they're letting him be, I don't want to say a high flyer, but they're letting him do those crazy moves that you don't typically see a big guy do.
Yeah.
So I love
looking
the
like
fact
a Bam Bigelow out there.
Right. So I love the fact that they're letting him do that. Randy Orton and John Cena, I feel like Randy Orton is the Vegeta that John Cena is Goku.
Yep.
And their story is more than 20 years old. And I think that right now, Randy Orton might not necessarily win this match that he's fighting, but I feel like he should end up being the one that's the last that John Cena fights. Regardless of anything that happens in between their story, at the end, Goku and Vegeta know they're there to kick each other's butt, or they're at least each other's motivation. Yeah, they're each other's final boss. And I feel like, Randy Orton has that place where he can be the person that ends whatever John Cena goes under. If he ends up losing his last match, I think Randy Orton should be the person that did it. I hope that they don't mess that up like they did Kurt Angle, because I personally feel like John Cena should have been Kurt Angle's last match.
Yep.
And I just hope that things turn out better with that particular story. I think that was all that I had.
Okay, go ahead.
Logan Paul. I hate him, but I love him. I love him because I hate him. And I love the fact that he is such a natural heel and people just don't like him personally. And he's able to bring that into his story. And he's got thick skin to where he's just letting it roll right on off, and he's doing his thing. And that's just going to make him even better. Penta being the next Rey Mysterio is perfect for me because I can't stand Rey Mysterio. And with Penta becoming the next Rey Mysterio, I hope that he becomes a backdrop to Rey Fenix tomorrow and just ends up, whatever. I mean, I wish him the best. I'm glad that he made it to the big leagues, but I want to see Rey Fenix shine more than I want to see Penta.
Facts.
I'm sorry. That's why I just want to throw that out there.
You good. Facts. I'm not a fan of Logan Paul. I'll never be a fan of Logan Paul's probably. I'll probably never be a fan. I can safely say that. I know he has thick skin. He's fine with being with any heat, any publicity is good publicity to him. So he's going to always be a natural great heel. Penta, like I said, I agree with that. Something else I wanted to say. Randy Orton, they're billing this as the final time they're going to wrestle. Now I don't like that. I wish, like I said, Randy would have been like the last guy or something. I think CM Punk's going to be the last guy. That's what I think. So either CM Punk, or they're going to give it back to Cody Rhodes. I think that's going to be the ultimate outcome because they got to figure out what they're going to do with Cody Rhodes. But I don't think Logan's going to win. I know Queen said that earlier. I don't think Logan's going to beat Jay. I think this is a filler again for Jay to have the title for a little bit longer before he does lose it. Let him wrestle Logan Paul. And then the Jade Cargill thing. I have an interesting take on that. I think Jade is going to be huge. Like they're investing into her. Triple H loves her. He wanted her to be this. I think she's having some of the best matches of her career. That's not saying much, not to knock her, but since she's come back from this little injury thing, because of her, I think she's understanding that they're putting this much into her. And I think the ultimate plan may be to get Jade the championship, like the Tiffany championship, but maybe from Naomi. So the way they got Naomi involved, I was like, get Naomi out of that before, like I said, let it be the ending, but it was too soon. So I think Naomi maybe takes the title. That's why you keep seeing her with the belt up and all from Tiffany. And then Jade eventually takes it from Naomi, which then leads to Bianca having the other title. And then we get maybe a WrestleMania or like a crown jewel moment of a Bianca versus Jade, both being the top two champions wrestling each other. I'm hoping. This is cross fingers, hoping that Triple H can see that down the line to build that up, to have that as a major thing in the future. But that's my idea of what I think they're doing. If they do that, then I'm okay with it. If not, then okay. And this will also be building Jay's story where she becomes more believable, recognizable, and going through the mud basically with Naomi, with Bianca, with the other ladies, having to show that she can beat these ladies in the stepping stone type thing until she gets to the final level of being on the level of Bianca or whatever. Nia Jax, to give her love. She used to be one of the most, if not the most unsafe lady in the business. I think since she's returned, though, I think she's actually safe now. I think she's actually safe to a fault sometimes. Sometimes she pulls back now and like a cheer shot on Naomi, I think it was, or something before, where she didn't even like hit her. It was like, I don't want to hurt you. I'm not going to try to hurt you, so I'm not even going to hit you. She has to figure out her ground, but I think she's a beast. I think she is the monster of the women's division. I don't think there's anybody else in. Like, I think she has her own solo lane. There's no other woman that's a monster, like a heel monster in wrestling other than Nia Jax. So she has that lane until somebody else comes. But other than that, like I said, I just wanted to throw them extra points on there. But other than that, y'all, I mean, we can move on to this new segment we got here. I know I'm ready. Y'all ready for this one? Oh, go ahead, Devon.
Actually, one more thing, and I'm sorry, I know I took some time, but the crazy thing is I actually have some notes right here, and I haven't really been reading them. I wanted to throw back out there with the Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker thing, and I'm going to have to side with John Cena about how toxic this relationship is with the fan base and how they are with the wrestlers, because at the end, Braun Breaker did his run around the ring, super spear to take out Sami Zayn, and the next thing you hear is one more time coming from the fans.
Yep.
We were just cheering Sami Zayn, a moment ago during his promo and everything like that, hoping everything works in his favor, and he just got split in half, and everybody's saying, "Do it again." Like, I feel bad for him, but at the same time, it was kind of beautiful to see that. It was nice. I welcome the violence. And then my final thing that I wanted to say that I meant to bring up earlier with the Logan Paul and Jey Uso is I feel like Jey Uso is starting to already become the next Cody Rhodes. And I enjoy Jey to the point where I'm happy that he's succeeding right now. I'm glad that they were able to separate the Usos and let them do their own thing. But at the same time, Jey hasn't really done anything that made me want to rush to see his matches.
Nah.
And I think that he needs to do a little bit more. I think Super Kick City is long overdue for renovations. And I think that he needs to improve his his moveset, especially his interviews. His promos are trash right now.
His physique
his
too.
entrance,
keep it real.
Yeah, his entrance is that's what he has right now. Mm-hmm. So hopefully he's able to do more down the road, because otherwise, just in my opinion, he's going to come to next Cody Rhodes where he's holding the title, waiting for somebody else to get it. And, they want him to do well. They want him to be big, but nobody cares, after a while. There's only so long they can carry that entrance to where it's not going to matter anymore if he's not doing anything else in the ring where everybody cares.
Yep.
But that was the last thing I had. Sorry.
No, you're fine. That's what they need to. Jey should not have a long title reign. Jey needs to be fighting uphill to get the belt. Take it back off of him. Make it so that they don't believe in him. He needs that Daniel Bryan type story. That we just needed him to get one. You feel me? Now, if you want him to get more than one, then take it right back off of him so he can build himself up. But let's get to this. Like I said, the new segment, y'all. This is basically anything you got to say. But this is called the Wrestling Tea, y'all. Now, when we do here for the Wrestling Tea, it's a new segment. We just talk about some things that aren't really kayfabe related as much, more of the real life, real work, things that you hear about in wrestling. So I wanted to talk about a couple things. Well, the main thing we can talk about real quickly, I guess we can a couple seconds, couple minutes. The firings. I think WWE released, what was it, 15? Was it 13, 15 people from the WWE?
I think it went up. I think 17.
17 now.
Was
okay.
it 17?
Well, basically, like I say, just give a couple thoughts on what you think about it real quick, the releases, maybe just your overall opinion on it. Like I said, this is no structure to this one. We just want to, keep straight facts, shoot from the heart. So, Travis, I'll start with you this time again. Well, actually, Queen, let's start with you this time, Queen. How do you feel about the firings and all that just happened? What's your overall feelings?
So you and I kind of privately touched on this conversation a little bit earlier today with, if y'all have so many people, why can't you figure out something to do with so many people? Why do you have to get rid of people? And also, too, it seemed like a lot of the people that they definitely let go either had some sort of active storyline, even if it was really, really loosely, like they were a loose character, or they're people that we just haven't seen at all in like months. So yeah, I don't know. It's just probably been the most firings I've seen in probably in like years. Like usually it's a trickle over the year, but like it was like you just said, like probably close to 20 people, that got released. So yeah, I hope the best for all of them, and I hope they can still find work because I know I think the SmackDown and the Raw people got like a 90-day non-compete, and then the other, like I think it was NXT got 30-day, or TNA, sorry, I think got a 30-day non-compete.
NXT,
In a state, yeah. So I mean, yeah, it was a trip because I remember I was just like chilling and I kept seeing updates on TMZ about people getting released, and then suddenly I saw like a mass release. But yeah, no, that's pretty much it. That's all I had to say about it.
Travis. Queen got stuck again, but Travis.
Yeah, well, but the suckiest thing for me for all these firings and all that stuff was Dakota Kai. She was my favorite throughout the whole list and everything. I felt Dakota Kai could have been at least one day a world champion. Like even when she had that match with what's her name, Lara, for the Intercontinental Championship. But I felt like she could do the most as far as everything. I don't understand the breaking up a metaphor. Like if you watch NXT, because I think that Lash Legend and what's her name, Jakara Jackson.
Yeah, Jakara.
It could have been like a great tag team, at least on SmackDown, I think. Basically, that's it.
I feel you. That's fine. It's your overall opinion. Devin, what you got to say about it?
My fault.
You good. Devin, what you got? How you feel about that?
So first, I want to say there were 19 releases that
19.
were
19.
that were talent related. Also, surprisingly, Christine Lubrano was recently released, and Christine was the senior vice president of creative writing operations. So basically, the head of the writers, and probably 10 to 12 people under her that were let go. So I am really lost with what their goal is. I don't know if it's that. I don't really understand the hunting season pattern with WWE with letting people go. I don't know if they're doing it to subsidize any business costs. If they have somebody that they're trying to hire or a move they're trying to make, and they're just trying to compensate the difference. And one thing that we do know is, regardless of who got let go as far as talent is concerned, with WWE, it's never the end. It's never truly the end. They can always pop back up. Braun Strowman got fired in 2021, came back in 2023. So, he can always come back. I kind of feel like the writing was on the wall, because offline, we were already talking about the fact that Braun Strowman, what is he doing right now? What kind of matches they have him in? He just got buried by Jacob Fatu, and nothing else happened. He hasn't really been doing anything. I do feel bad for some of the people like Jakar Jackson. I thought that tag team with Lash Legend, I thought all that was going to, go somewhere. And right now it looks like it's just not the case. Katana Chance, I was just talking about her. I don't know if it was yesterday or what. I was just talking about her and Zelina Vega being the underdog just because of how small they are. And well, Katana's out right now. She's gone as well. So it's really crazy, but you kind of never say never with WWE when it comes to those firings. We could very well see some of those people come back. Gigi Dolan and Cora Jade. I think that they have a place. And I think that that's one of those things where they could probably go somewhere like TNA, which even may even be the case. Maybe WWE fires for talent. They might push them over to TNA and let TNA deal with them a little bit, use them as kind of a training ground, and bring them back once they're ready. But yeah, that's my thought.
I don't understand. They make talent. You feel me? Like, talent is talent. You got to have certain, talking abilities and match quality and that type of stuff. But you make talent, especially when you got to give them a chance. And a lot of folks aren't even given chances by WWE. And I don't understand that. It's like, how do you fire somebody without having them on TV? You feel me? Like Braun Strowman, we talked about. We saw the writing on the wall. We saw that he was no longer being used as a monster. So you were going to get to a point where you had no use for him and you went to fire him. Why would you do that and set him up for that? Dakota Kyle in that situation, I wish her all the best, but I think I talked about that with y'all as well. She kept getting injured. You feel me? Like injury after injury, and she kept coming back. And I don't know if her body worked, how she does stuff. She got kicked in the face by, was it Zoe Starks or whatever, and went back and had a concussion right behind that. Like I saw the writing was on the wall because they were trying to give her a chance to build her up with the Intercontinental thing. I thought to say, hey, are you good right now? And she got injured again. But a lot of the folks, it's Triple H. I know folks are mad at The Rock and Triple H having beef. I'm not a big Triple H fan. I'm not not as far as the wrestling thing, but just as far as running it, I think he's another extension of Vince McMahon. I think at a point, if the bloodline and The Rock isn't involved, a lot of the storylines are BS. It's a long payoff, a long not payoff, I feel like, for a lot of these storylines. So I don't know. That's my overall opinion of it. Before I move on to go to a little bit of boxing, which happened over the weekend, Devon, did you have anything else you wanted to say as far as any tea? I know you said earlier you had something you wanted to say for the tea section. Zelina Vega anything?
I think that was pretty much just the Zelina thing. Oh, actually, you know what? That was exactly what I was talking about. So there's a clip that's been going around online about with Zelina Vega doing her little dance and celebration at the beginning of her match. Yeah, with the Sasha Banks. And I think I hadn't really read it. I think somebody said that Sasha said something about it. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, I noticed that that's getting a lot of attention.
She's the new Sasha Banks.
Could be. I want her to succeed. I like Zelina Vega. There's not really a lot of, I don't know if I should say personality. Like her character isn't really something I care about. And especially with the fact that they put her with LWO, that seems just like that's just somewhere to sit all the Latinos right now, just to keep them all together. And but yeah, exactly. And then they'll eventually start letting them go and everything, but they're just keeping them in a separate group. And I just hope that doesn't end up costing or causing an issue with her development and her career. I would like to see her succeed more. So if they can make her a Sasha Banks that doesn't get injured every other match, and have, Mercedes's, I think, well-documented personality issues, then I think that she could do very well. I know she's got her size going against her, but hopefully that ends up, working out in her favor, because they got a good amount of talent that's around her size.
Yeah.
That I think she can be believable. I do not want to see her fight Nia Jax.
I mean, AJ Lee was damn near 90 pounds, and
yeah,
you feel me? So you can do what you can do. But I don't have a problem with Zelina. I just wanted to stop doing the 619. But we also had a little bit of boxing that happened this weekend, y'all. Friday and Saturday. We had main events for Ryan Garcia versus what was it, Romero, and then we had Canelo versus School this weekend as well. Any of y'all want to touch on anything that you see this week? Anything about the fights or anything that you felt excited about or made you feel like, hey, you need to speak on it?
I didn't realize that Braun Breaker's running around the ring for the spear. I didn't realize that run was also a boxing technique, because that's how I felt with School when he was in his match. Is he was running around as much as Braun Breaker does, and I don't know if the commentary team was told to bury him, but they did not hold their punches. And I don't know how that usually works when it's with boxing, but they didn't ignore the fact that he pretty much did nothing almost. Seemed like he might have just been there for the paycheck. And no hate, if that's what he was there for, he's making his money. Do what you got to do. Yeah. I just feel like that's one of those things that kind of puts you in a position where nobody's going to want to bring you back in that type of situation. Because I know there's a lot of money that was involved in that whole process, especially with going over to, Saudi. And that, I don't know, it felt like a cash grab to me. And I would hope to not see something like that put on such a big stage turn out the way that it did. and you could tell that even man, his name just went out. Canelo, you could tell he was mad. You could tell he was upset, and I'm sure there was more that he could do to close the ring, to shrink the ring and everything, or to cut off the ring. Sorry, but yeah, that fight seems just very frustrating to me. That's all I had for it.
Anyone else? Let me get my opinion real quick. I can say boxing been dead for a second. We don't have a heavyweight division. There's no guy that really is believable as the baddest man on the planet without being a heavyweight division. I think Canelo, I don't want to say wash, that's my guy, but he's getting older. So he lost not too long ago. I think that was maybe the telltale sign at the beginning of the end, where it's becoming that moment. It was a boring match. They got him going against Terrence Crawford next. After watching that and seeing his recent performances, I think Terrence Crawford going to destroy Canelo. And that's sad to say. I can't believe I'm saying that. But on the other side, Ryan Garcia, I'm not a fan of Ryan Garcia at all. I thought he was kind of overrated. I know he beat Devon Haney. I'm not a big Devon Haney fan either. And this was his first match since suspension. And people talk about these guys being better than Tank and all that. I know Tank didn't have the best, fight last time and all, but these guys are not on that level. This is a bunch of boring boxing. So that's my overall opinion for the weekend. Travis, you got anything you want to say about the fights before I move on?
No, pretty much. No. Like you said, it was pretty much boring.
Queen?
I don't know if you can still hear me, but
yes, we can still hear you.
Like you said, it's been dead for quite a bit. And I was even kind of like trying to stay awake long enough to get to the Canelo fight, honestly. And I felt like it was lackluster. Canelo getting old. And I don't feel like they fairly graded that fight, but at the end of the day, they get paid to do it, and I don't. So I feel like at the end of the day, it could have missed it and been fine.
All right. Well, shout out to the T and other news, and that was brought to you by Playback. Thank you to our friends over at Playback for this segment. Pause. If you're tired of the national media and the annoying ways they sometimes cover sports and other events, give the Glow Sun Production channel on Playback a try. We cover new and old school basketball, wrestling, and geek culture. And just recently, we've added boxing, mixed martial arts, anime, and even video gaming. So if you have time in your busy day, give our channel on Playback a look and check out some of our replays while you're at it. Another special shout out to our favorite at Playback. Back to the show. All right. I want to thank everybody again for joining us for the second episode of We Talk Combats, where we have 4 out of 5 again. Maybe one day we'll get all 5 of us on stage. But I appreciate the rest of my co-hosts, Queen, Travis, Devon. They do what they do. They know what they know. There's a reason why they are co-hosts here. I got them here, or I asked them to be here for a reason. And I appreciate them always doing this show with me. I want to also give a shout out to my other show, Cabin Crown, if you don't know, on the Glow Sun Production. We're on our way to our first 5,000 subscribers over there. Help us out. If you haven't already, join. Subscribe, like, comment, do all you do over there. Help myself and Rel out as we try to reach our first 5,000, as I said. Also, if you haven't already, other show, well, not my show, but our other show, Cause We Geek with Rel and Will. They talk about everything geek culture, including movies, comics, anime, anything in between. They should be doing another show. I think they said this upcoming weekend, maybe or so. They want to do a Sinners spoiler discussion soon. But other than that, y'all, appreciate everybody. Please like, subscribe, do everything on this show to us. We're trying to get our first goal of 500. We want to get paid too, y'all. We just black people here trying to get paid. So appreciate y'all. Do all that stuff as Travis saying, somewhere over there beside Devon. We appreciate y'all so much for joining us for We Talk Combats again. We'll be back here next Sunday. If you haven't already joined our Discord, where we show everything. We have watch parties for basically everything WWE, boxing, and UFC, and all that in between. But other than that, y'all, for myself, King, Queen, Travis, Devon, and also Justin, this is We Talk Combats on the Glow Sun Production Network, and we'll see y'all again next week. Peace.